And to continue the discussion about Trump's success and why is he successful, one of the reasons why Trump is successful is because of the last 8 years of apologetic type leadership, where the president apologizes for uh, everything that we've done in the past, and everything that we are, and goes around apologizing because we are apologizing for the fact that we are a great nation, and people are tired of that. They want to be proud of their nation, and it doesn't take it's not it doesn't take somebody that is rich to be proud of the nation. Poor people are proud of America too, just as well. They want to be proud of the country. Middle class people want to be proud of the country, and of course he says the anxiety and resentment of poor and middle class whites and Republicans. But the whole country, everybody, I don't care who it is, whether it's middle class, poor, or rich, want to be proud of the country. And so when Donald Trump comes forth with charisma and everything as he does, and says he's going to make the country great again and going to make us strong again, well, that resonates. A lot of this politics and everything, it doesn't resonate because people don't understand it. People don't understand politics, and they don't understand a lot about history and everything, but they understand that they want to be living in the greatest nation on earth, and so they understand when you say, "I want to make your nation great," and I want you to be. I want to turn this nation into a nation that can be proud of its heritage and its people and all like that. People understand that, and so he's come up with things which people can resonate with, and that's what it is. That's the reason, a lot more than the fact that they resent the wealthy and everything. You can't resent the wealthy, because if you resent the wealthy, you won't ever become one of them. I mean, that's just a law. That's just one of the principles of the universe. And so most intelligent poor people and intelligent middle class people know that there's no reason to resent the wealthy. The best thing to do is get in there and learn how to become one of them. And so I think that it's not resentment as much as it is that people just want to be proud of the country again, and they're tired of all this apologetics that Obama is exercising around the world, thinking that that's going to make things better. And people don't care. I mean, I've read comments about that, and the people in the other countries will say, well, they don't like America, but they are certainly appreciate our pride that we have in our country. Something to that effect. They recognize the pride that we have in our nation, and they, or I think what they said, I think they don't like our culture. They don't like our religion or our culture, but they like our pride that we have in our country. And so they recognize that, whereas if you go around apologizing for what all you've done and everything, that's not appreciated by anybody. All they don't see that as anything other than just weakness. And so anyway, you did not mention our attempt to analyze in your video the reason for Trump's success in the Republican Party. He basically blew away all the other more experienced and much better funded Bush, Cruz, and Walker candidates and all like that. And I guess they were better funded. That right there, I don't really, I haven't really examined what kind of funds each one of them had and everything. But part of that, what you have to spend the money for is to get name recognition. And for Trump already having name recognition, didn't have to spend as much money. So, whatever they spent, and everything was to get a better name recognition. Cruz had pretty good name recognition in the Congress and in the Senate and all, but he didn't have that much name recognition as a general of the general public, especially the young people. And Walker, I hadn't heard hardly anything about him before the debates, and not all that much. And of course, Bush, we know Bush because of his father and all. And but as far as knowing anything much about him as an individual and everything, that wasn't that well known. Okay, so neither do you mention the success of Sanders, a virtually unknown senator from Vermont with no money and no support within the Democratic Party establishment. He is polling about 45% of the Democratic vote. And, of course, we've always had, the philosophy that Sanders has is something that we've always had in the country, and they've always been trying to pull the Democratic Party more and more toward the left and more toward a socialist type of government because, there's a certain element of people, certain group, and becoming larger, I guess, all the time, that actually believe that if we can just get the government to sanction something, that makes it right. If we can get the government to sanction a certain type of morality, well, it's all of a sudden it's moral. If we can get them to sanction a certain type of character, well, then that's all of a sudden that's good character. If we can get them to promise us that we'll be taken care of and we'll be well off the rest of our life, and be provided for and everything from cradle to the grave and health care and Social Security and all these other kinds of things that will be that all of that will just be poured out upon us. Well, then that just automatically means that we can just stop worrying about the future, and we can stop worrying about everything else in the country, about the moral decay or about the character of the presidency or anything else. We can just rest because everything's going to be taken care of. Because after all, the government is so big and so strong, that if we can just get the government, if we can just vote, and vote in somebody that will just, all of a sudden just say everybody's equal, it doesn't make them equal, but, we're equal in the eyes of God, and we're equal really as far as our nature and our divine nature and everything, we're equal, but it's not going to make the other people in the country view them as equal just because the government says they are. And it's not going to make a person actually wealthy or actually have a better character or actually know better how to enjoy their life or anything else just because the government comes in and says, oh, we're going to make sure that you have all your health needs met and all of your monetary needs met, and that you can buy a home whenever you want to, and any size home, we'll just loan you the money at no interest, and all them kinds of things. That's not going to really overnight make you into a person who understands how things work, or a person who understands the economy. What we need to do in order to become a successful person and really enjoy the fruits of this wonderful country and the opportunities that are there is to learn how the system all works. And I'm not talking about the system of the government. I'm talking about learn how economics works, and learn how investment works, and learn how to get involved with the things that work, and learn how to become motivated to climb up the corporate ladder, motivated to become how to become upward mobile. We need to learn how to become upward mobile in the economy, rather than looking to the government and saying that if the government will just send out an edict that will make us all of a sudden upward mobile, and all of a sudden put us on the top rung of the ladder when we started out we're now on the bottom, but the government's just going to write a ticket and say we're now going to be at the middle or the top. That's not going to work. That kind of thing's not going to work. It's not going to make us a better person. The only way to become a wealthy person or a healthier person or anything else is to become a better person, and just to work on improving ourselves. And that's the same way it is with the healthcare system or anything else. We've got to take personal responsibility to not smoke and not to drink too much and to eat right and to exercise and all those kinds of things. And when we learn as a society, learn to do those things, then that's going to do more than anything else to take care of the healthcare crisis. I didn't mean to get ahead of myself on that, but there's just a lot of things like that. Okay, it says, neither do you mention, the success of Sanders. What makes for the success of Sanders? And of course, the success of Sanders is that just means that there's a certain, we've got a large number of people that agree with what he says, and he figured out what they wanted, and he's giving it to them, he's promising it to them. And that's part of politics. I mean, you got to find out what people want if you're going to get in office. I mean, it's one thing to want to get in there and make the country a better country, but if you can't get it elected, it's not going to do you any good to have all these wonderful plans. And so you've got to, as a part of our politics, we've got to know what it is that the people will buy, and what it is they will vote for, and you've got to put that out there. Well, he's up 70 years old or more, and he's lived in this country. He knows and he's read the political situation. He's worked in the Congress and all, and he's let's see, it said senator for Vermont with no money. I don't know about that. No money. Senators get paid. They're not all that wealthy, but they get paid decently. And so, but he knows politics, and he knows what people are asking for, and he listens. I mean, people have called his office and told him what they want, and so that's what you do. You have to do that in order to play the political game. And it's just as simple as that. I mean, he just found out what one segment of the population wanted, and so then he got into that and began to preach that. Okay, now it says that he is pulling in about 45% of the Democratic vote. Well, 45% of the Democratic vote is that way. They're liberal. 45% of the Democratic vote is liberal, and and then maybe 55% perhaps is blue dog. Or maybe I would say probably maybe 30% are a blue dog, and then the others are in the middle. Something to that effect. And in some states, he has won 60 to 70% of the vote. Sanders is also tapping into the anxiety and the disgust with the present unfair, plutocratic, oligarchic system rigged for the benefit of the wealthy and big corporations. And, it's... we have to have corporations. I don't know about all this rigged business. That's his opinion, and we have our opinions about whether they're rigged or they're not rigged. But we have to have corporations because cooperation provides jobs, and we have to have jobs, and we have to keep our corporations competitive. And part of the reason for all this kind of a problem is not so much that the corporations are rigged, but it's because that we have sent corporations out of the country. That's one of the reasons, and then we put too many regulations on them to where they can't operate. We've taxed them too heavily, so they've had to leave the country, and all those kinds of things like that, which has caused them not to be able to create jobs, and so they've had to leave the country in order to be able to provide the stock market returns for the people that are investing. Because in order to run a corporation, you have to have investments in that corporation. You have to have stockholders. And if you can't meet the stockholders' demands and you can't turn a profit, then you have to leave the country and go where there's the profit. And so then when you do that, you take the jobs with you. Okay, so, but he says, anxiety and disgust with present unfair, rigged for the benefit of the wealthy and the big corporations, especially after the economic crash of 2008, which ruined many lives. And that wasn't the corporations that did that. I mean, this was the housing, the prime rate, and that was created by the government. That was a Democratic. Well, I guess I shouldn't put all the blame on the Democratic Party, but a lot of it was during the time of Bill Clinton and all, when they went in, they decided that everybody should be able to have a home, no matter whether they had the right down payment or whatever. They ought to be able to buy a $200,000 home, even though they may not be making but $50,000 a year. Then they should be able to have a $200,000 or $300,000 house, only right, and and not have to pay a down payment and all like that. But then they got in trouble with that prime rate, and that's the reason for all that. It had very little to do with the big corporations. The unfairness and the corruption of the present economic. And like I say, he needs to come back. I'm going to have to let Ari. He will come back and clarify his opinions and add to it and everything, so that I can get some more ideas and so that I can continue. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm exhausting the other side, or I'm fully answering these questions. I'm just answering part of it, and I'm going to need to discuss it with him further. Anyway. Sanders is highlighting economic unfairness and corruption, drawing huge crowds and many supporters. Well, that's one of the things that goes with politics, and he's found a niche. So we'll have to continue again on the next video, and we'll continue this until we get it.